You know something that people tell me constantly? They're like, "You're such a creature. What is going on in there? What is wrong with you? I can't figure out what is up with you." Well, here's the thing. I have a literal tag on my Tumblr, which is Into the Mind of Split Level House. It is not hard to find out every single detail of my life that I have shared on the internet. It is all meticulously organized. It is all meant to last forever. Do you see how many videos I have? And they are all just this. They are all just me talking to my laptop. Because I like doing this. Because I've been taking video journals for my entire life. It ain't my fault that y'all are confused by a journaling device. Seriously. Papa de buapwa de bapa scabo de wa de buda way babwa way babwa way abadabwa way to wow scabo de bo scabo de wa 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 de do wa wa de bo de wa wa de bo da da scada da ba scada de da da de da 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 de da da de da da de da da da. I love to scat sing. It's groovy. I also love Country Joe and the Fish. They're a 1960s psychedelic band. They do psychedelic blues rocks. They do some just heavier psychedelic. There's this one song, Janice, which has it has a harpsichord and some medieval revival. There's so much music in the 60s. There's so many genres. There's Baroque pop, which is when, like, symphonic instruments are in there and stuff. And then that just is symphonic / Baroque. So then psychedelia is literally any and all music that is made either on or to sound like psychedelic drugs. And so Baroque psychedelia is that with symphonic instruments. Psychedelic rock is rock, but it's psychedelic. Blues rock, psychedelic blues rock, psychedelic jazz, and then specifically acid rock. You tend to have a harder sound. I would say a lot of Jimi Hendrix and Steppenwolf fall into more of the acid rock category. And then you have bands like Strawberry Alarm Clock, which it has some heavy psychedelia, lots of sitar. That was the Baltimore scene. Cool jazz was a type of jazz that came out of the 1950s. It started in New York, but then there's West Coast jazz, which is specifically cool jazz from California. And you have things like Julie London, Mel Torme. I also really love Blossom Dearie and Margot Gurian. She was 50s, 60s. Her 50s is more jazz, 60s. She has sunshine pop. There's something wrong with the morning. Though, one of my favorite Margot Gurian songs is Moon Ride. It's about her going to the moon, and then she gets captured by the Moon Man, but don't think she came unprepared. She had her new ray gun. The space age. She wrote that song before man had landed on the moon. Why is the moon landing less of a big deal than the United States of America's birthday? The moon is so much more important than America. Like, the stars, we should be prioritizing on the stars. I firmly believe that if we were to just defund every war, stop blowing people up, and then put all that money into the environment, boom, the earth would go back. Like, they talk about climate change like it's irreversible, but I'm like, if we ruined the climate, if we were to put twice as much of the effort that people were to ruining the world out of greed into fixing it, boom, world peace. And you can say all of these other things. You can say, oh, but at the end of the day, these simple things are truths. Medieval revival, that was 1960s. The Peacock Revolution was where you see in, like, think Sgt. Pepper's Band, I Am the Walrus, that era of super flamboyant psychedelic looks. That's the Peacock Revolution. You can read the Wikipedia page. Surf rock. There's some surf rock in the 50s, but also it was originally racing rock, which was for, like, drag races, like, with not stock cars, like street races. Or maybe stock cars, I don't know. And then, surfing. And then surf rock is all around the world. So it's the same thing about how psychedelic can be anything. It's that fucking reverb on the guitar. Surf rock. Oh, the amount of Polish music I have with surf rock influences. It also sometimes, west or east of France, a lot of Eastern Europe has much more French influences in their music than British. And then when you go west of England, that's where you get Beatles era. The Beatles' primary fan base has pretty much always been women. In the 60s, oh my gosh, women were obsessed with them. So men gatekeeping the Beatles when they don't even acknowledge that the Beatles' entire career was built on the women who loved them. And it's like, they don't even know that I'm the fifth Beatle. So it's like, they don't know shit. Other genres. I know others. Garage rock, which is like low effort, and then that led garage rock and hard rock, which hard rock went to metal, and then also hard rock and garage rock, that's where you get a lot of proto-punk. There's doo-wop. There's the Philly sound, that's where you get a lot of Philly soul. There's also Memphis soul, folk music, and then a ton of hybrid genres, like folk blues, folk rock. The Beatles started doing some folk rock stuff because they were inspired by Bob Dylan and the Byrds. And I'm always saying this, the Byrds kind of sound like Bob Dylan Beatles. And, well, part of that is because the Byrds worked with Bob Dylan and did a lot of covers of his music. Their cover of Mr. Tambourine Man. They also have a song called Mr. Spaceman. It's like, I woke up one morning, and it's like, hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong, please, Mr. Spaceman, won't you? Whatever. I love 60s music. 60s pop. That's where you get, like, boy bands. Boy bands started out of the fucking 60s, man. The Beatles. Man. But also it's like the Kinks, Pink Floyd, although, they aren't really boy band. The Hollies have a lot of 60s pop sounds. And then there's also things like the Turtles, the Mamas and the Papas, which is a lot of, like, American 60s popular music sound. And that came out of Laurel Canyon, which was this neighborhood in LA. And that's where you had people like Buffalo Springfield, the Monkees, the Mamas and the Papas, were the Love and Spoonful in Laurel Canyon? And then there's the San Francisco rock scene, which is where you get things like the West Coast Pop Art Experience. I love the West Coast Pop Art Experience. That is, like, there was so much, like, avant art rock, and then also the band The United States of America. Split Level House comes from one of their songs. It's I Won't Leave My Wooden Wife for You, Sugar. And then there's two reasons. One where Dorothy Moskovitz is the vocals, and then one where it's Joe Bird. I listen to a lot of music. I have a wizard music playlist, which is a lot of medieval psychedelic folk, and then some, like, psychedelic, acidish hard rock. That it's genuine 1960s hippie wizard music. I have never listened to the Grateful Dead. I'm gonna be real with you. I barely know anything about them. I'm all about the Summer of Love. I can tell you some things about Timothy Leary. Turn on, tune in, drop out, question authority, think for yourself. All phrases coined by Timothy Leary. A lot of people discredit him for the fact that he did so much acid. And people like discrediting me for the fact I smoke so much weed. Bruh, that reefer. I literally need drugs for my body, for my state of mind, and I'm talking about the ones that I'm prescribed. Yes, I am medicated. I like acting crazy. YOLO. I like saying crazy things. You're like, oh my god, this is fucking insane. No one else is gonna say it. No one else is thinking the things I'm thinking. Unless they're thinking about the things I've said. My philosophy. It only takes a second for the dust to get in your eyes, and then just like that, I'm with you forever. Because you just lived a moment with me, watching one of these videos. I like to call the people who follow my blog and who are interested in my life and how I work, my intellectual voyeurs, taking a look into my mind. It's a great time.